Hi everybody, Jo here again. How are you doing? I hope you're keeping okay. I hope you're doing well. So thank you for joining me again today. It's time for our usual Tuesday little catch up and craft session. Today we're going to make quite a simple design, but sometimes I think it's nice to show you that you just need a few stamps. And we don't need to throw a lot at a design. I mean, obviously, as you know, sometimes I like to spend ages creating backgrounds and really getting almost lost in my craft. But then other times it's nice to create something a bit more sort of plain and simple. And also not using a lot of different stamps. Sometimes I get the whole lot out. And literally, I don't know about you, I open my boxes and I just get them all over the floor. I file so much stuff on my floor. And I just look through and look for all those stamps I haven't used in a while. But today I've gone for a couple of the new stamps here, just because I've had some messages off ladies that have ordered them but want a little bit more inspiration of what to do with them. But I'm also aware that it does take a while for the new stamps to get to places such as Australia. I know a couple of ladies have got in touch, so I am going to do more little tutorials and videos using some of the older stamps as well, because I know you find it very frustrating waiting for your new stamps. But you know what? The beauty of this design is you could do this with some stamps that you've already got. And for me, sometimes the fun of that is looking through my stash and seeing what stamps I could use to create something similar. So literally we're using a couple of colours of ink, and I'll just show you what they are. And I've gone for this lovely zesty lime punch in the elements, and also, oh, it's upside down. Oh, do you think that's for the ladies in Australia? Sorry, that was probably a bad joke, sorry. I'll edit that bit out, don't worry. And we've gone for russet orange. I just thought some sort of zesty, sort of nice colours to use. So what we'll do is we'll put that on one side, and I'm going to start with a piece of multifarious card, and this is 5.5 inches by 5.5 inches, and that's purely because I'm going to put that on a 6x6 card blank. And the first thing I'm going to do, as you know, is put my Sharpie line around. Any marker you can use for this. I mean, again, if you've got coloured, you know, gold or silver, that would look nice. The main thing with this, I do this at the beginning because I'm not brave enough to do it at the end, just in case my pen was to whiz across and spoil my artwork. But I do think the trick is just holding the card down. Now, I always put my piece of kitchen roll over just in case I've got, I mean, I do try and wash my hands before a video, but you know what? It is amazing. There's always those black marks, aren't there? You know what it's like. I know you do. We always seem to get them. So there we are. I've got my basis. And what I'm going to do to start off with is I love wreath cards. Always have done. But I know quite a few ladies find it difficult actually making that almost that circular shape. So to be honest, get your acetate circle masks, and these are just great for this. And what I'm going to do is start off with the lime punch. So I'm going to get my ink pad here. And as always, my stencil brush, my lovely Lavinia stencil brush, and dip it in the lid. Now, a little tip here. Even though we're going to put our ink on our mask first and drag it out, some ladies worry that the ink might be too strong. And it's caught me out before now, because these ink pads have got so much ink in, they're so juicy, really high in pigment. And even though you take some off on the lid, you can still get it very dark. My tip is always start at the bottom, because to me at the bottom is where it's going to be darker anyway. I'm going to have extra shadow. So if it ends up too dark and I really need to take more ink off, I can then make it lighter at the top and actually make it look as though it's more 3D, as though, listen, this is my little tip, as though it was supposed to be like that. So that's what I do. So try and get in the habit of doing that. So again, take some more ink off on the mask, and I'm just going to start, and I'm almost going to do sort of circular motions. And I'm starting at the bottom, and I'm just going to work my way gently, gently, almost tickle it. You don't have to press hard. I'm not pressing, I'm literally. And it can help if you hold the brush a little bit further away like this. You get a lighter touch. You'll find if you hold it further down, you get almost like a harder, you tend to press harder, and the colour will be stronger. So just nice circular motions, and I'm just going round. I just want sort of that hint of the lovely green colour. Now again, that just moved slightly because I want to move my fingers out the way, but I can easily pop it back, look, and we'll come down this side and then just blend that back up. If I want a bit more ink, I can take some off the circle mask, look, and I just want that nice sort of green hue. And again, as there's less ink, I can just build up that, and there we have that lovely. And again, it's just that idea, it's just that sort of, as I say, almost like a circular hue. Now I'm just going to wipe my mask, because again, for me, it's very important, Mr. Inky Binky, to put this away clean. And again, I like to put it away so I don't lose it. And what we'll do now is we'll come in with some stamping. So we'll get rid of that one so it doesn't distract us. We'll file that on the floor, I think. And we'll come in with our black, our Nocturne, and our lovely little Small Pixie Houses. I just need to get myself my acrylic block. And these are lovely. They are small. I'm actually going to keep mine in with my pound stamps. I have a separate box for my pound stamps. But I worry about losing little stamps like this. We were talking the other week, weren't we? Excuse me, about how many different places you can find them. And I do love it when you put comments on and tell me the extraordinary places that you found your stamps when you've lost them or mislaid them. Or I think the fairies hide them. Or maybe that's the pixies. So we shall stamp this one first. And I'm just going for a sort of an area. And again, there's 3. So there's a taller one, so I'm going to stamp that one first. And again, it looks nice if you had an odd number. So we'll have that one there. That one there. And again, you could put them in a row if you wanted. I just think they look a little bit more natural if I can sort of offset them a little bit. And we'll stamp this one again. We'll put him there. And then I'm just going to give that stamp a wipe. Mr. Inky Binky, put him back on the acetate. And again, my little tip with these is always put them back on the acetate, because again, that might just help not to misplace them. And we'll have that one there. And we'll put one at the other side. And that's my little grouping. And again, you could get carried away. You could stamp these so many times. They look gorgeous actually stamped on top of the ferns as well. I mean, so many uses for these on top of the mushrooms. You'll really love using these. So I'm just going to give those a bit of a blot. As you know, I always like to give them a blot. The VersaFine Claire's a slower drying ink. And what we'll do now, we'll come in with the smaller of the acetate masks, and we'll just create a little bit of an idea of the sky. Now, I'm going to use my russet orange for this. Now, I know you could use blue, but I just think I want to sort of make a nice, almost bright card. So I just thought I'd go for the orange. And again, I could mask this area off, but I'm not going to. I'm going to live dangerously. So I'm just going to put the moon sort of there, partly on. And again, in the ink. And then dab some off on the lid. And just come in here. Make sure I take some off. And then again, just circular motions. And I can see, so I just want to keep it in that area there. And we'll just add a little bit across the sky. And again, it'll be paler, just to give that idea of some sky. And again, I'm just being nice and gentle, and I'm not being too careful. There we go. And that just gives me that nice idea of that lovely bright sky. So we'll pop that over there, and again, wipe my mask. I must admit, I'd be lost without these masks. The circular mask and the hill masks I use so much. So I want the flatter of the hill masks. There we go. And again, we'll turn our work round. And we'll come in with the lime punch, and let's give ourselves a bit of a, I mean, it depends where you've put them, look, but I want my lowest, so I'll put that there. Oh, I nearly picked up the orange brush. Maybe I'll just move the orange brush out of the way. Have you ever done that? Not quite concentrating. Make sure I've got the green one. Now, a lot of ladies have asked if you need a different brush for each different colour. I've got to be honest, I have one for each colour group. So obviously this is my green. I have an orange one for the blues. I have a separate one for yellow, one for my purples. Now, the green, I can go dark to light, because if I go in between, I tend to use a lot of the ink off my brush. There's very little left at the end. But also I could just give it a quick wipe on my Inky Binky, and really it doesn't matter if it's had a dark colour or a light colour on last, it will be fine. So this will cover all my greens. But to be fair, I always have, it is funny, I like to have a clean one. That's my spare one. That's my emergency one if I need it. Now, if I use that, I have to order another. Don't ask me why. I think it's one of those quirky things in my head. I like to always have one there just in readiness. Maybe I shouldn't have told you that. Maybe I'm just giving too much away of what I'm like. So again, you could mask off this area, but I just find there's no need. We'll have a little bit there, and we're just going to move this so it's a different shape. Look, we don't want it to look too uniform. And then we'll come in and have a little bit of a hill there. And again, nice light touch. And I'm being mindful not to go outside. And then let's just, we want to, that one there, give a bit of shadow. And then let's just have, there we go, our last one. And it'll be in the distance, so nice and light, just to give that idea. And you see how that builds up, how quickly that builds up. And again, we'll give that a wipe and put it away. Now I just want to add, with my fine liner pen, just a little bit of almost detail, sort of next to the houses. Just some little lines, maybe the hint of the idea that there's a bit of grass there. Again, and I'm not overthinking it, just a little bit to break that up. I'm going to add some shade anyway, so it's just to give us the idea. And at any point, I mean, it's like this, you could leave this at this point if you wanted. You could just flick some water on it. But we're going to add some stamping, and we're going to bring in the Woodland Fern. And there's 2 stamps on this stamp set. So these little blocks I do find useful for these. I love my thinner acrylic blocks, but just for these little stamps, I do go back to these. Now, if we look at the finished design, you'll see I want to keep to the theme of the oranges and the greens. So when I looked in my VersaFine Claire, I've got an orange, which is summertime, and then we've got Shady Lane. You know, in my head, she's a lady. So they're the 2 greens I'm going to use, but I want the green to be in the foreground. So I'm going to stamp the orange first to almost knock that into the background. So we'll come in with this summertime. And I'm going to start, I want to have a group of my ferns here, so I'm going to start here. Now these ferns are pointing in different directions, look. So we're coming in with the larger one first. And I'm just going to gradually work my way round here. And I've got the circle for the guide, but I'm not going to keep directly to the circle, because this is almost going to be a bit more of, to give a bit more shape, so I can come outside the circle a little bit. It's a bit like if you're flower arranging, this is adding the dimension, and I'll come in with the foreground. So this is going to be all in my background. So I am using the circle. Oh, I didn't press on hard enough there. But look, if that happens, don't worry, because all you do is come back on, because I'm trying to not put my head over, and we'll overstamp that there. And nobody will ever know, because you won't tell them, will you? And I won't. And again, the only reason I'm taking the ink to my stamp each time is I find if I actually do it the other way and take my ink pad, take my stamp to the ink pad that way, I get it on the edges. And I'm one of those, if I get ink on the edge, I'm going to get it on my card. So for me, I have to take the ink pad to the stamp each time. Now, if you're one of those lucky people that doesn't, by all means you do what suits you. I mean, again, at the end of the day, this is all about learning what fits in with you and the different ways that we all have. I mean, in the past, I've sort of rushed at the end and tried to do it that way, and I always get a mark. So I like that, and that's just given me that sort of background. Now, again, I'm just going to clean my stamp, because I'm going to come in with the orange one, the smaller one now, but with the same orange ink. And I'm just going to add a little bit more here. I want there to be more of almost like I don't know, an arrangement. I can't think what the word was then. An arrangement of ferns here. So I need some background. And we'll maybe have a bit of second generation. Then I'm going to bring one in here just to cover the stem there, the stalks. And what you can do now is have a look and see how the shape's looking. So we're still in shot. So for me, I just want a little bit more width there. So if there's any little bits, and the good thing about this is just have fun. Don't be harsh on yourself. So if there are any bits you don't like, I don't like that bit there. So stamp over it, get rid of it. It doesn't have to be perfect. I think we're so hard on ourselves. But this is such an easy way to get a lovely shape. So I just want a little bit more there. And again, if you're not sure, turn your card round, have a look at it at all different angles. And I just want another one there. And then I'm happy. The orange is going to go away. And I'll get that mad woman, shady lady out. And I'm just going to wipe my stamp, because even though I'm going from orange to green, I don't want to contaminate my ink pads. Now let's come in with the green. And we'll use the bigger stamp to start off with again. And we'll just come round. Now these, I'm going to keep these more into the sort of middle, actually where the shape is. Just going to add more definition with this one. And again, I'm going to turn my card round as I do this one and just take my time, just following that shape around. And I think the green looks lovely as a contrast on top of the orange. And as I say, because you've used that circle acetate mask, you know exactly where the shape's going. And we'll just turn it round as we go. This would look lovely in different colours for different times of the year. And you've got so many other stamps you could add. I mean, I'm leaving my garland or wreath with my fern stamps, but you could add other stamps. How many other stamps? I mean, we've got lovely leaf stamps, we've got berries, and you could really go to town. So I'm going to come in with my smaller one now. And this is the one that's going to give me this lovely shape here. And again, this is just perfect for this. And I'm just being mindful, it looks lovely, just coming over our little pixie houses, look. Now I want one here, but I don't want the base to come out so far. So what I'm going to do is ink it up, but then with my inky binky, just take off this bottom bit here. Just so that then I can get that there without it coming, the stem coming out here. Now I like that, but I think it'd look nice having one coming here. So again, take your time. I think we put one there. Oh, and just, I know, if I just get the edge of this, let's do that again and just wipe clear that bit. I could mask this bit off, but I find just if I wipe it, see if I can just get that's nice. So I like that shape there. So I've got all the way around. I could add some more, but I like the simplicity of that. Like I say, you can really go to town if you wish. And that's the beauty of these designs. You can take them to whatever level you want. Now what I do want to do is just stamp this lovely pound stamp. So this is the bellflower, but the mini. So we've got the gorgeous vine. I'm going to stamp this in black. And this almost to me looks like a little lamp hanging down. And I just thought I would stamp that. I need to get it hanging down straight, don't I? Hanging there. Yeah, that's pretty, isn't it? And again, just turn that over. So that's our stamping done. And I just think that's built up beautifully. So let's just add some of those finishing details. Just want to check my hands are nice and clean. I'm bringing my cloth to lean on. So I've just got some normal colouring pencils here. And we'll just colour this lovely pound bellflower. And we'll go for orange in there. Again, I want to keep the oranges and greens. And I'm going to have some shade here. So we'll use dark green and then just come in with a lighter green. And the pencil will cover, even though we've got orange underneath with our ink, the pencil will cover that nicely. And again, these are a wax pencil, so just by going over that dark colour with the light here, it'll blend it nicely. Just a little bit more shade there. And that just brings that to life, doesn't it? And then I think we need somebody in those houses. So this is the gold signo. As you know, I use this so much. It's so lovely. And we'll just add a little bit of light here. So it looks like there's somebody in. We want there to be somebody in, don't we? There we go. And let's add a little bit on our bellflower. Yeah, that's pretty. And then I'm thinking, let's add a little bit of shade. So we'll come in with our pastel pencils. Again, how much space do you have? It's like trying to keep all these things on your desk. So let's come in with a darker green and we'll add some shade. So we're going to have shade this angle, aren't we? From these houses, and that's a taller one, so that'll be longer. And then as we get nearer, it'll be more or less straight this way. Now again, I know I'm probably overthinking it, but I like to get it as correct as possible. So my shade for those will be straight down and these will be at an angle. And I'm just going to add a little bit of, I like to use the black and the green. So we've just got that dark shadow, but it's on the green ink. And again, as always, I'll smudge it. Two things, it'll help set it and it'll also just makes it look more like a shadow if it's a little bit smudged. And then we can come in with our white and just add a little bit of highlight. Come on, pen. There we go. So it'll be on the top of the roofs, and then this one is just going to catch that side. And maybe a little bit on here as well. And a little bit on these leaves, just at this side. I don't want to overdo it. Because what I'm thinking for here, let's bring in our pan pastel. This gorgeous, it's the white fine pearl medium, which, as you know, I always find a mouthful. And with our applicator, let's just add a little bit here. And we're just going to put some round. And again, I don't need to fix this with any spray because I'm only using a little. If I was covering the whole design, I would use one of my fixatives, just my spray fixatives. But this, just my finger, will be enough to fix this. And it's just going to give, if I bring it a bit closer, I'm not sure, you know I'm not very good at this camera work. It just gives you almost a sheen, and it just adds that little bit extra detail. And I think that's what's lovely about our card making, is when we just add, and again, if we want to just add a little bit down here, just that little bit of sparkle and a little bit of extra detail. And again, it's nice to get all our products and bring them together. Now, a lot of you will be happy with your card like that. So again, if you're happy, you leave it like that. I'm afraid I need to add some splats. That's just the way my head works. So my fan brush is in my water pot, and I'm just going to put a little bit of ink on my mat. Now, this is useful if you did have any marks on your card. And I'm just going to go opposite corners here. And then maybe just a tiny over there, but that's it. But as I say, if you're not into your splats, you can leave it without. I mean, I hate to say it, but wouldn't this make a gorgeous Christmas card? Add a little bit of holly in there, some berries, and do that with your white Posca pen, a snow. And there we go. Lovely. Maybe a little bit poinsettia. I mean, oh, I'm just thinking, you know what? Absolutely gorgeous. So the last little finishing trick that I'm going to do is bring in these liquid pearls. And I've gone for 2 colours. I'm going to mix the colours. So I've got prickly pear and rose gold. I just thought it went with sort of, you know, my orange and green theme. Now, as always, remember how I told you last time, these are a bit naughty. They have a bit of wind. So let's just do our practice piece. You see, he spat then. Right. And we'll clean that up. And I don't put my hand in it. And I'm just going to go down and lift up. And I'm going to add these just randomly all the way around. Some I'm going to put in singles, some I'm going to put in groups, and I'm not going to overthink it. And I find it easy to turn my work. I've just got less chance of actually smudging things. And again, if there was any particular bit, say where, like here where the ferns joined that you weren't keen on, you can do extra little dabs of colour there. And we'll come in with the gold one now again. Let's just check it's working okay. And this is the most gorgeous colour. I love this. So again, we'll add some. And I just think it adds a nice touch having the 2 colours together. And just take your time. Working your way round. Add a couple down there, on there, I like that. And I'm mixing them. Sometimes I'm keeping them the colours separate. Sometimes I'm mixing them. If I turn it round this way and just lift it up just to give myself an idea. And I think we just want a couple of little ones just up that fern and maybe just on that one. Check if I've got any gaps. What do you think? He's shouting at me. No, I think I'm happy with that. I don't want to overdo it. I like that. Again, you'll be talking to yourself saying, oh, am I happy with that, aren't I? And I just think that's a lovely little design. So if I bring in the original one, Now these are wet, they will take a while to dry. So if I put that on there so you can see the two together. And like I say, I'm thinking it's going to make a lovely Christmas design. I may even get a couple started, you know, because I think it would be nice to be ahead with my Christmas. I mean, you could do an autumn wreath. I mean, like I said, do you know, new home card? Or even a wedding, just a different scene in there. But you could use the same design. Do you know what? It's like these stamps, they always, so many possibilities. Once I start using them, my head just starts going and so many ideas come to mind. And again, the little lamp, I just think that's lovely. And again, I've left it without a sentiment so that when I'm ready, I can add my sentiment. And I've got lots of space. I could pop it in the middle here or just at the side. Or maybe even there with maybe the little button, the pound button. Yes, I think that would look nice. Anyway, I've taken up enough of your time. Thank you for spending time with me. I do appreciate it. You all take care. Much love and hugs from me. Bye for now.